And again, the world of hip-hop is heating up. But this time, it is not about hit songs or an unbelievably good collaboration, but a very serious beef between none other than Chris Brown and Quavo, two of the world's biggest hip-hop stars. Chris and Quavo, who had been good friends over the years, had a great, admirable relationship, which is rare to see in the industry. But suddenly, their friendship turned to public shading of each other and going so far to diss each other on social media. What exactly is the root of this unending and unexpected beef? So, pump your brakes and get ready as we dive into this heated beef between Chris and Quavo. Chris Brown and Quavo had been good friends who had worked greatly together on several occasions in the past. They collaborated on a series of tracks. In 2016, Quavo hopped on Chris' song Whippin'. He also featured on the Singers Before the Trap mixtape. Similarly, Chris Brown appeared on a song by the Migos called Just for the Night. During this time, their interactions were positive, with both artists speaking highly of each other in interviews and other shows. This created a sense of friendship within the hip-hop and R&B communities. They often appeared together at events, award shows, and frequently hung out together on their personal time. They even shared the stage at the live performance. But their relationship suddenly turned sour, and this started with a relationship over Karrueche track. Karrueche was the focal point between Chris and Quavo. Karrueche had previously dated Chris on and off for several years before their breakup. Chris said the reason for the breakup was not to hurt Karrueche. "I have decided to be single to focus on my career," Chris said in a statement. "I love Karrueche very much, but I don't want to see her hurt over my friendship with Rihanna. I'd rather be single, allowing us to be both happy in our lives." Afterwards, it was reported that Quavo was dating Karrueche. Chris, who had broken up with Karrueche for reasons only he understands, did not take this news lightly. According to TMZ, Chris said that Quavo betrayed him. So why was Chris so upset about the news and talked about betrayal? Was he jealous? On June 23, 2019, Chris Brown and Quavo got into a fight at the BET Awards or BET Awards after party. The tension between Chris Brown and Quavo reached a boiling point. The event, which should have been a night of celebration for the music industry, was overshadowed by the beef between these two stars. Reports from insiders suggest that the feud between Chris Brown and Quavo had been online for months, with both artists taking shots at each other on social media and in their music. So when they came face to face at the after party, all hell broke loose. According to a video, the drama started when Chris Brown spotted Quavo across the room and made his way straight for him. He was angry and clearly ready to confront Quavo about their ongoing issues. As Chris approached, Quavo did not back down, and the two began shouting at each other in front of a stunned crowd. The heated exchange quickly drew the attention of others, who tried to calm the situation down before things got physical. The arguments reportedly lasted for several minutes, with Chris and Quavo hurling insults at each other and accusing each other of being disloyal and disrespectful. At one point, Chris was so furious that he had to be physically restrained by his bodyguards, who were worried that he would try to attack Quavo. The situation was so intense that security eventually had to escort Chris out of the party to avoid further tension. The beef between Chris and Quavo did not seem to be cooling down. Things got heated even more when they got on the basketball court, causing drama and throwing shade left and right. It all started when Quavo boldly proclaimed that he's the best hip-hop basketball player in the world, following his recent All-Star Weekend victory against 2 Chainz and Lil Baby. But Chris Brown was having none of that, calling out Quavo's lack of confidence on social media, saying they knew who not to ask for on that 2-on-2 basketball. He wrote, "I would have cooked Quavo and Jack. On my soul, guess they wanted a smoke-free zone." The two artists would go back and forth claiming to be the better player. They were soon engaged in a full-blown war of words on social media. It was clear that the feud between these two wasn't just about basketball anymore. it was personal. As Chris stood at the post-game press conference, his competitive spirit heated over. With the confidence of a champion, he issued a brazen challenge to Quavo, shouting, "Hey Quavo, get your bitch ass out here. I'm cooking y'all. Who's next?" He would claim that Quavo was scared. Fans couldn't help but watch the drama unfold, eager to see who would come out on top in this battle of egos. It was heated, and everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. In 2024, what started as a simmering feud erupted into an all-out inferno, with Chris Brown igniting the flames with a few choice words on his track Freak. But this was no simple rap beef. This was a clash of egos, a battle for bragging rights, and Quavo was not going to let it slide. Quavo hit back with Tender, a track that did not just address the beef, but also dug deep into Chris Brown's personal life, bringing up the Karushi trans situation. But Quavo's response only served to stoke the flames of Chris Brown's anger, and he retaliated with a diss track of his own, Weakest Link. This time, Chris Brown did not hold back, unleashing a torrent of insults that were both savage and unforgiving. He went too far, bringing up the tragic death of Quavo's fellow Migos member, Takeoff, and saying that he should have been the one to die instead. Quavo, caught in the crossfire of Chris Brown's verbal onslaught, was left reeling. And so, he unleashed over and onto the airwaves, a track that was meant to hit Chris Brown where it hurt. But Quavo did not anticipate was the scathing response from Chris Brown on social media, mocking Quavo's track and saying that even Takeoff could rap better than him. Ouch, that gotta hurt. As the dust settled from the initial flurry of diss tracks, it seemed like the feud might finally be cooling down. But this was far from over. The drama spilled over into the real world as both Chris Brown and Quavo took to social media to air out their grievances. Chris Brown's latest stunt is the epitome of pettiness and shade. Chris allegedly purchased countless Quavo concert tickets just to leave the venue empty. Chris seems to have gone to great lengths to embarrass Quavo in the grandiose display of wealth and power. With Quavo's concert an apparent flop, the rumor mill is churning with speculation that Chris Brown is behind the sabotage. A source claimed that Chris Brown wanted to get back at Quavo in a huge way and flex his financial muscle. And while some fans are shocked at Chris's alleged tactics, others are applauding him for his legendary shade and branding him the King of Petty. Quavo, on the other hand, is probably busy counting his losses. The saga of Chris Brown and Quavo's beef has taken yet another jaw-dropping turn. From diss tracks to concert sabotage, these two are proving that the rap game isn't for the faint-hearted. Chris Brown's move to buy up Quavo's ticket was wild and showed just how far these two rappers will go to outdo each other. We're waiting to see how Quavo responds to Chris's stunt. But one thing's for sure, the rap game is always full of surprises, and these two are proving it. Who knows what kind of spicy responses Quavo might have up his sleeve? Or maybe Chris Brown will pull another sneaky move to keep his rival on his toes. The drama never ends in the rap game, but whether these two keep going back and forth or decided to call it quits, one thing's for sure. This beef has been juicy and we cannot wait to see what the future holds for these two rap stars. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss a new video from us.